Are y'all ready to get this started?
Let's go.
3, 2, 1.
Let's get it. Here we go.
Sit your ass down and get ready for the next episode of the Urban Green Room. The Urban Green Room. With your hosts, my girl AA and that dude D. Lewis.
Hey world, it's your girl AA.
What's up, y'all? It's your man D. Lewis.
And welcome to another episode of the Urban Green Room podcast. So
Hold on. Yo, before we get going, I gotta do this. Shout out to all of our listeners, all of our viewers in this country, but I want to give a special shout out to all of our listeners in Ireland, Italy, Sweden, and South Africa.
Hey.
So big shout out to all y'all. Don't forget to like, subscribe. We appreciate y'all support. So please continue to listen, and we'll continue to put out good material. So we love y'all and we appreciate y'all. So thank you very much.
Hey, I know that's right. So tonight we are going to pick up on our conversation on mental health and wellness. So a couple podcasts ago or conversations ago, we started the conversation. We were transparent about some of the mental wellness situations we were all going through, and thought there were so many hidden gems that were dropped, like within an hour. We really needed to go back and kind of digest what we talked about, because we really want to bring awareness around, you know, some of the things that maybe, or behaviors we should be paying attention to within ourselves and our loved ones, so we can start to recognize the sign and have healthy conversations around, you know, how do we become okay taking care of our mental our mental selves. So we go to the doctor, we go to the dentist, we go to the eye doctor, we go to all these doctors to take care of us, but we neglect to take care of our mental state. And that's an issue, especially in our community. So we're starting the conversation. We're going to go backward so that we can move forward in this conversation. And we're going to learn some things from our specialists and our favorite couple that's in the house tonight. So welcome back to the McDonald's. We got Devyn and Raynisha, my new BFF.
Thank you.
Welcome back.
You know I wanted to say some shit, but I ain't
Thanks
gonna
for
say
having
it.
us.
What's up, y'all?
Yes.
What's going on?
Hey.
What's going on?
I know, right? So this is the thing. Just this week, because like talking about mental wellness, I had a moment where, and again, I'm emotionally constipated. So I have recognized within myself when I have moments where I need to pay attention to my mental well-being. So I had a moment, we're going to talk about that in a later podcast, but a moment where I thought, you know, this life change situation, I handled it really well. And then about an hour later, it started to sink in. And I started to, like, stuff started happening, right? And
They're
usually,
called feelings.
I know, they're called feelings. I went from happy to sad to confused. And in the moment, I didn't know what it was. I was like, stuff is happening to me. Like, and then I go crawl and sit on Dee's lap, and I'm like, so I think I'm feeling. He was like, you're feeling what? I said, stuff. And he said, describe it. I was like, Like, he was like, do you need to cry? I said, yes, I think so. I'm not sure. I said, I think what I need to do first is talk to my therapist. Because if I can't describe what these things, these feelings that I'm having, I don't know how to deal with it and process it in a healthy way. And I really just wanted to bag it away, but it was so strong that I did. I sucked it up and I was like, don't give in. And I thought to myself, that's so not healthy with everything that I've learned. So I let it out. And that was me realizing that my mental state was in jeopardy. Like I think I didn't breathe for a few minutes. And then like I panicked and I thought to myself, okay, you know how to do some things. So for other individuals like myself who you notice the signs, like what do you do? How do you get to a point where you can recognize within yourselves and in your loved ones that there's a situation that we might need to address? Like, walk us through what that might look like. Because I recognize it in myself, but only because I've been educated and I've been working on dealing with, you know, owning my emotions. And that's taken years. But for someone who's, you know, doesn't have that experience or hasn't had an opportunity to speak with someone, how do they go about recognizing that maybe that's not normal?
I think as soon as those are called triggers. And as soon as you start to feel emotions that make you feel down, like you don't want to engage in your normal activities, you don't really want to be around people, or you start having those thoughts where like, no, just bury it. Like, it's okay, one, to recognize it within yourself. Like, be truthful to yourself. Don't lie to yourself. You know, it's different when you lie to other people, but lying to yourself causes you to damage yourself. And we don't want to do that. So as soon as you recognize, I have emotions, I don't know how to process this, or I don't know what to do with them, I don't know how to deal with it, and you want to back away from everybody and you don't want to get out of the bed, like you want to kind of hide yourself, that lets you know that you've been triggered emotionally and that there's something going on and you need to reach out. That is the point, to reach out. And if we talk economics, there might be a lot of people who can't afford to reach out to a therapist or a counselor. And so that would be the point, that you need to reach out to a friend. Now, not just any friend. You don't want to reach out to that friend who's like, you need to be a real nigga and like suck it up. No, we don't want to reach out to that friend. We want to reach out to the friend who experiences emotion at a positive level.
Suck that shit up, nigga. Come on. Fuck wrong with you coming to me with this bullshit.
We don't want that.
Nah, not that friend.
We don't want to
And
be a
y'all know
real
y'all-
nigga
we
in
all
this
got
moment.
them.
We
You
want
right,
to
man.
like,
You right. I was tripping, man. Almost got you.
we want to be a human.
You don't want to be that.
We want to reach out to somebody who is going to, if not help you walk through it, just at least let you know that it's okay in that moment. You know, somebody who gives you good advice. That could be the advice that you don't want to hear. Like, no, I ain't going to them because they be talking about bullshit. No, they be talking about truth that you need to hear. And that's the person that you need to turn into. And it can be a scary conversation to start because you don't want to feel weird, or you don't want to feel like they're going to judge you, or, you know, any of these things you make up in your head. Take a breath and take the first step, because it's really all about you. And if that person is your friend and they love you, or they're your family and they love you, they're absolutely not going to judge you. They're probably going to be honest with you and let you know, like, hey, I've been there too. I suffered with X, Y, and Z. And that's like the bridge that starts the journey to good mental health.
I would piggyback off of that. And one thing that you said that is, I think, a key point is educating yourself on things. I think a lot of times we don't take the time to educate ourselves on ourselves, of what's going on and why this is happening. And the more and more that you do educate yourself, then you have the ability to counteract of what's going on. It gives you tools to be able to do. Another thing that you said was you almost stop breathing. And a lot of times people don't realize when you're stressed and have anxiety or panic attacks or any type of emotion, major situations. Yeah. Your two things you do with your breathing. One, it's very shallow. So it's, or you hold it. And sometimes you don't realize that you're holding your breath, and then you can almost hear yourself go,
I'm a breath holder.
And so when you do those things, you start to now cut off oxygen to the critical and logical thinking side of your brain. And so when that happens, that is why the emotions start to drive the truck. It's why they're lashing out. And that's why when someone asks you, well, what's wrong? A lot of times you can't even tell them, can't even verbalize what's wrong. You're like, I don't know, but I know the way I'm feeling, I shouldn't feel this way. That's because the emotions are higher than the critical thinking. And so a lot of times what people can do in those moments is breathe. Really focus on your breathing and being able to take deep breaths, which will allow you to then emotions coming down and allows you to get the oxygen to the brain. So the critical thinking, logical thinking can start to happen, which then kind of clears up things of kind of being able to make good decisions and understanding things. That is a huge thing that people don't really do and people aren't aware of to do.
And one last thing, also, when you hold your breath because you just got this traumatic news or whatever circumstances have happened, it make you feel dizzy. And then you start feeling woozy. And then you start panicking because you're like, oh my God, I'm dizzy. This is happening. And you start panicking and you really start spiraling. And it's just like, now you have all this stress and you're holding your breath and you're like not thinking clearly. And so you start spiraling out of control and that leads you to a panic attack. And then you start feeling like you dying. And it's like, stop, take a breath. Every time you get some kind of news or you're stressed just from your regular day, breathe deep, deep breaths. And that will always immediately help you within your body to feel better. Because all these emotions released are chemicals in our brain and within our bodies. I don't know them off the top of my head, but each emotion affects a different part of the body. It releases a different chemical. And so now you got all this stuff going and you're not breathing. And it really creates this situation like within yourself that leads to panic attacks and depression and anxiety. And they can have lasting effects, but breathing is so important. Just taking a moment to breathe can really set you back into a good positive space to where like you can, okay, let me figure this out. Let me see how I feel, where I'm going. What's my next step? What do I need to do?
That kind of reminds me the breathing thing about like when we were kids, people would try to teach us that. Right? Take 10 deep breaths or something like that. I mean, I remember something like that as a kid, but as we kind of grow up, you know, our environments teach us something completely different, you know, so we forget all about that. So I think that was a very good reminder because I don't do that. You know, I'm just thinking through some situations that, you know, I've let my emotions get the best of me and breathing was not part of the plan. Shit, let me tell you what, that was not part of my solution.
Right.
You know what I mean? So a lot of times our emotions are going and our solutions become more destructive for us than and just trying to breathe, relax, and let's analyze and figure out what's actually happening. Go ahead,
Right. And that takes time. And I want people to realize that it isn't one of those things that you're like, oh, okay, I got to breathe and I'm going to be able to do it. Like, no, it's training. You literally have to train yourself to better yourself. It like
to reel it in.
Yeah, like
reel those emotions in, reel those thoughts in.
You've been this way, you know, majority of your life. Like it didn't just happen all of a sudden. It was like, no, like you've been this way. So now it's like you are retraining your mind and your body of how to respond to things. And that takes time. And I want to be able to give people that space to understand that this isn't an overnight fix. It is something that you will continuously work on and that you will get better at. But I don't want people to walk away and be like, well, I was breathing and shit still didn't work. Like, no.
You know how it is.
It takes time. Like,
yeah.
Right. Like you don't
I need results.
Right. You don't just wake up one day and start walking. Like it's a process to be able to start walking. You got to first start to crawl. Then you got to start, like it's a process before you walk. And so I want people to understand that trust the process and don't just focus on the results. I think a lot of times when things are happening to us, we want to focus on the result. Like, what gets me out of this now? And it's like, no, there's a process, because you just didn't get it now, or something didn't just happen. It was a process. And so once you understand that there's a process to things, then you know, like, okay, it's not a big picture, it's a small picture. Let me deal with that, which is a piece of the big picture. A lot of times when we're stressed or have anxiety and things like that, we try to fix the big picture. We look at this huge picture and we're like overwhelmed. It's like, well, how am I going to get this shit done and everything else? And I try to tell people, instead of looking at the big picture, look at pieces of the picture. Focus on that and complete that. And the more and more you do that, you will eventually start to see that the picture is starting to come together, and now you have the whole picture taken care of.
Yeah, I appreciate
like
that. Because I'd be that dude, be like, that nigga Devyn ain't know what the fuck he was talking about. I was breathing like a motherfucker, man. And fuck that. I'm still upset, so I ain't doing that bullshit. That's white
Why are you
people
over there
shit.
like, man, I'm breathing?
That's when we go to the white people shit thing, ain't it?
Over here breathing.
So I think
He's telling us to do that white people shit.
You don't know how to breathe.
Give me something to punch, nigga.
Like, no.
well,
Breathing is stupid.
It is, and we do it every day. We do it every day.
You kind of got to do it to live and shit, you know. And this shit is dumb.
Literally have to breathe to live.
It's funny because as a theater major, I would share breathing techniques with D. One to get him to relax, one to get him to learn how to relax to go to sleep. So I've been breathing, and I used to hate it in theater class. It didn't matter what level of theater, I hated it because there was always breathing exercises. So I was familiar with breathing. In fact, in the 9 to 5 with my teams, I would teach them how to breathe to cope with the stress of work. So when I have to say it to myself, so like I've been breathing, we breathe every day, but I mean really breathing to relax and assess the situation. When it comes to me having to deal with stress, like, so me in my personal, not the 9 to 5, but when things happen to me, I found it to be the most difficult to remember to breathe. So even if you've been breathing and you got experience, I found that it's something I've really had to practice. And this is years of practicing. Like the first thing that happens is that I go, okay, you're not breathing. And I tense up and then I feel my head shaking. And then I'm like, breathe.
Shoulders.
Yes, I instantly do this. And I'm like, you just let it breathe out now. And then like I start to think it through. And I think what happened the other day was one of those moments where I wanted something instant, like to kind of navigate the emotions I was feeling. And when that didn't happen, I was just like, it's not working. And like a little kid went and crawled up on his lap and was like, something's happening. Like I felt like I had broke the cookie jar. I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't know how it happened, but there's a flood of emotion. So I wanted instant gratification in a sense that like fix it. Because I don't like dealing with it. And it's too much. Like I could deal with one emotion, but we talking about like a flash flood of all of them hitting me at one time was overwhelming. And I just didn't know what to do. So, and that's me knowing me, because again, I've been working at understanding this for myself. But for someone who doesn't have like a traumatic experience, just everyday life, when they like, how do we notice that maybe our loved ones need to take a moment and breathe and kind of assess the situation? Because that could be a sign that their mental health is off, and they might need some help readjusting. How do we get to that point where we're open enough to recognize it, not only in ourselves, but in our loved ones? Because I know some people who go on roller coaster rides every goddamn day. They do this. And people be like, I'm not talking about you.
No, I ain't know you ain't talking about me.
I was like, what
shit.
you doing? I just see it.
Nigga, man, listen. You about to
He was
send my
agreeing
ass
with
over
you.
right now.
Listen, you better breathe.
Thank you. See how
So
defensive she was?
you better breathe.
Nigga, breathe.
but right, see, emotional roller
That's
coaster.
gonna be the new thing. You're gonna get into her and be like, you better breathe.
Nigga, you better breathe.
before you bring it over here.
That's the new saying. You need to take 2 steps back and 2 breaths. So
I can in our early years of marriage, and I can use him as an example because
Thank you.
he here. So in our early years of marriage, like, you like mad all the time. It don't matter like what I say, like you mad, and you do 2 things good. Like you can show either you ready to have sex or everything else is anger. Like everything. Like very rarely are you happy or excited or surprised. Mostly angry. And so I'm like, you need to go talk to somebody. And he was so resistant. And I'm like, no, I'm serious. Like, I can't do this. Like there's no way that the only emotion you're able to show is anger. Like, what's wrong with you? And so he was extremely resistant, extremely. But just living with him, I was just like, I can't talk to you about stuff because like, no matter what I say, you're angry. Like if we take bedroom stuff off the table, like most all other situations, you can find a way to be mad about it. That's not normal. Like where the happy, where the joy, where the surprise, where the shock, where the hope, where the peace, where's anything else other than upset? And so that was how I was able to recognize it in him. How did you recognize it in me? Like,
yeah, I recognized in my wife when she took a baseball bat to a TV. I just knew, but I was glad it wasn't my TV; it was her TV. So I was happy. I wasn't angry at that time. I was happy because TV. But I believe that if you are truly invested in your relationship, there are clear signs that are there. And a lot of times when we see those signs, we disregard it.
Or we're scared to speak up.
Because I think some of the scary part is the uneducated part of it, of not really understanding like what that is. So for her, me being angry all the time is because I was going through an identity crisis. And it's hard to be able to tell somebody that you're going through identity crisis when you really don't know that you're going through identity crisis. You just like, I don't feel like I'm feeling like there's a huge void that is not being fulfilled and it doesn't matter what I do and all those things. And so you become angry. And it wasn't the fact that I was angry at her or the kids. I was just angry at just life and just not knowing your purpose. I think that's a huge thing of just not knowing your purpose in life is very frustrating and can be devastating. It's just like, why am I here? If I don't know like the reason behind it, I thought it was football. I thought that was like my ticket out of this. And then, it wasn't. And so playing football from the age of 6 to 23, that was my life. And so when that's over with, I didn't know how to operate without it. And so I didn't know how to communicate without it. And so, yes, I was angry, but I was angry with the fact of why haven't I figured this out? Why can't I figure this out? And it's hard to come to your wife and say, hey, I am going through some stuff that I don't even know how to tell you that I'm going through some stuff because I can't even describe to you what it is. I just know that when I wake up, I don't really want to wake up. And I'm mad that I got to be up and I got to do this other job that I don't want to do. And I got to do all this stuff. And I got a family and I got to take all these other responsibilities. And so I think for her, she noticed it. And then she she said, she noticed it and said, that's not you. Because she saw me
That's
how I
not
was.
who I remember.
She saw how I was when I played football. Like, I wasn't angry. I was happy. I was the life of the party. Like, that was me. And she's like, I know you. And what you're going through right now isn't you. And having that conversation, as much as I was just like, no, I ain't going to counseling. Like, you can go to counseling. I ain't going to counseling. No, you need to go to counseling. I ain't going to counseling. And like, that was like about a good 2 years.
I had to set him up. I made us a counseling appointment and I didn't get a babysitter. And I was like, oh, shoot, I got to go take care of the kids. But you go, I'll be there. I never showed up. That's how I had to get him to go to counseling.
This was the expression that I literally had. I was like, this? I thought we was in this together. And so now I'm in front of a dude like...
But I was desperate to get him help. And I knew that I knew he was going through something. And I mean, we were really young. This was like our mid-20s. And so I knew that he was going through something and I knew that I wasn't qualified to help him. And so I just knew that like we needed help and I needed to find help. And it had gotten so bad, I was just desperate to find him help. And so by any means necessary.
And so to answer your question, I think it is, one, I think people know that something isn't right. I think they don't know how to approach it with that person, whether it's the person noticing something isn't right or the person who knows something isn't right. And I think that's where it comes into communication and why that is so important in the relationship.
Am I the only one that just got hot and shit? Like,
No.
is it just me?
No. Because I think
God
we've
damn.
been there.
What you got to say?
Well, then let's speak to that.
You got on a long sleeve shirt.
Man, it was cold as hell in the house because he keep it on icicles.
I love that.
No,
So,
I'm gonna let you go ahead,
no,
Mom.
because in our last conversation, I talked about my approach, like was way off, and that had to improve. The way I communicated to D needed to improve, in order for me to get him on board with getting some assistance. Can we talk about that? Because I think no matter how good the communication is, I think the words that we choose play a huge part in that, because me and D could talk about anything except for this. This was the one time where I think my words really mattered, and I could use them to either hurt him or to help him. And I think realizing that me being real and being like truthful or keeping it 100 with him in our normal joking way was not the best approach, or even that direct, I think you crazy, like wasn't gonna work. How do we get to the point where it's effective communication and not just me blurting out shit just because I noticed it? Like, I don't make somebody eat a shit sandwich thinking that just because you packaged it well, they're gonna receive it. Like
Right.
I don't understand that. So how
You
do we
don't
get
want the
people
help pie.
yes. How do we get people to understand, like, just because you notice it, now your next step is to communicate, but this is how you got to do it. Like, any suggestions on what that should look like or sound like?
I have a question first. Dee, did you have, like, you look like you're over there processing, you little,
I am.
you know, did you have something to say?
Listen. I was hoping we went back to that. I feel like there's probably a million other people right now who have gone through that exact same experience. I can only speak for myself as a man, listening to another man that looks like me go through the same exact thing. It was kind of surreal because it sounded like he was telling my story, like my personal story. Like, that's kind of what I was going through. Just early, in my 20s, we had a lot going on. And it was a real stressful time for us normally. But at the same time, I was going through that identity crisis and didn't know it. So I was that angry guy that if we ain't fucking, I'm mad. Like, but it wasn't at anybody in particular. I was just, I was just trying to process that, or really more so relieved that it wasn't just me. You know what I'm saying? It's not just me that goes through that. And I'm analytical by nature. So I just start thinking on shit. And as I was processing that, I'm like, it sounds what people like to refer to as a midlife crisis. I think, it's very similar, but it doesn't necessarily have to be midlife, because a midlife crisis in itself is just that. When people, it typically is used toward men, but we get to an age and then we realize that, you know what, I haven't done any fucking thing I want to do. I haven't enjoyed this life. All I've done is this fucking job day in, day out. I done took care of the kids. I done took care of the wife, and I haven't done anything for myself. Let me go out and buy this fucking Corvette, right? Because I want to do something finally for me. You kind of lose grip of who you are. And that doesn't necessarily have to happen in your 40s. That can happen in your 20s. Like, when you snatch yourself, say myself, for instance, we moved across several states, newly married, gone right now from everything we know. Like, that is major. That's major. So we moved to an environment that was completely different from where we was raised. So not only did we have the shock of not being in our own safe environment with our friends and our family, but now we in this whole other fucking culture, like, and we have to learn that now. We have to learn how to interact with them. We have to learn what's the protocol, you know what I mean, and interaction, because it's completely different. Me working, going out working, like, how do I interact with all these people that don't look like me? It's very stressful. And you know what? Anybody who's ever been in a situation like that, you are going to probably lose a little bit of yourself, because now you have to try and you have to assimilate yourself into a completely different culture in order to be successful, right? So you do that for 20 years, and you look back like, what the fuck? Like, who am I?
I think
that's all. I just really I identify with that so much. It really touched me. It really touched me. And I hope it touches somebody else out there, that we okay. That shit is normal. We can't get through that.
And that's something that has to be addressed. And I don't know if it's specific to our culture or if it's specific to the American culture. Like, they sell you dreams because we live in a capitalistic country. And so everything is geared toward profits. And so you see all these images constantly on TV. You're berated with the ideology that if you work really hard at something, you're going to get X results. And it's basically so that you can buy into this dream of killing yourself so that somebody else above you can make the profits. And so little Black girls and boys, like, unfortunately, every generation tells them athletics is the way. That's how you're going to get it. That's how you're going to get it. That's how you're going to get it. Because really, we are stronger, faster, and physically, we dominate most athletic sports. And so that's our ticket out. That's our way. And we trap our little Black boys and girls in the athletic box. And then when they get to a certain age and it doesn't work out, because, oh my gosh, only a slither of kids who go to college on scholarship for their sport. Like, I think it's like 3 to 6%. Only 3 to 6% will move on and play in the professional realm. So, I mean, you have, millions of kids that are playing all these sports and that's all they've ever done their whole life. And as parents, we're, encouraging our kids to be the best and, oh, you're going to make it and you're going to be great. And that's not bad, but that's also not accurate. And we don't teach our kids how to be diverse in anything. We're not giving them other skills. We're not looking for other ways that they are talented and skilled. We're just looking at one way. And so when we get to 25, 23, and we don't make it, I ain't never been nothing more than a football player. Or I ain't never been nothing more than a track star. Or I ain't never been nothing more than X. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't even know myself. Mm-hmm. I don't know myself beyond my one talent. And if you ever get to really understand who you are, like you are so talented in multiple things. And we got to stop doing that because like we're really breaking like a whole lot of people, a whole lot of kids, setting them up for failure. And then also we have to normalize doing other things. We have to normalize thinking outside the box. We have to normalize not just being an athlete. We have to normalize doing something different. I mean, I've seen multiple adults in my family, like, dude, they got into one job and they did that one job because it provided and like, they never did nothing else. And that was it. Like, I'm like, you didn't try manager or nothing, but it was about survival, like, oh, this is enough for us to survive. We're comfortable. And if you think about coming to America, you start on the floors and then you get
pretty
promoted
soon,
to the
fries.
and then you get the fries and that's when the big bucks roll in. And it's just like, it's okay to dream. It's okay to think. It's okay to pursue goals. I think about that movie that we watched where the boy wanted to be I can't remember it. Cork.
A wine.
Cork.
The wine. He wanted to be a wine.
Yes, the wine.
Yeah.
And his dad was so against him, doing something. Well, why he wanted? Well, he think he better than us? Daddy, it don't have nothing to do with that. Like, I have dreams. And God put me on this planet with specific talents. And I just want to utilize those talents. Like, I want to do what I feel passionate about. And it should be okay.
But a good example with that movie, and I'm glad you brought that movie up, was the dad felt a certain way about himself because he did have dreams of doing stuff, but his daddy wanted him to do this. And so he had to put his dreams on hold, and he was successful in doing the business and things like that.
But it never fulfilled him.
But he didn't know how to tell his kid, it's okay to go for your dreams because this wasn't my dream, but now it's become a passion. And I can't put my passion and my goals on you. And I think a lot of times that happens in our culture. Things has happened to us and we're like, it paid bills. It was able for us to survive. You need to do this. And
what make you so good? You want to go out and think. You want to dream.
And
you're going to fail and then you're going to be right back here.
Right.
Flipping this chicken with me. See, I told you.
Right. And it's never
but that's true.
That's real. That's real shit.
It's true.
Like, we've done that for generations.
Mm-hmm. Somebody got to break it. Because
that's all we've known. We have to get to a point where we educate ourselves enough to where we can break that cycle. I remember being like that with my kids when they were small. My dad was like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure. And it just goes on. Every generation was a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? Right now, we on the sports theme, sports and entertainment. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Before that, it was, hey, you're going to go out, you're going to get this job. You're going to stay at this damn job at the factory and you're going to retire after 30 years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm sure it was things before that. So that's just, we're stuck. Like you said, Ray, in the other podcast, we're stuck in survival mode.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That we prohibit ourselves from actually living. You know, so many of us don't venture out of our own few square blocks. I still think one of the best decisions we ever made was to move. You know, and move to where we are. Yes, it was extremely fucking hard and we struggled a lot. But the thing that it did most is, first off, it forced us to get closer together because all we had was each other to depend on.
Yeah.
Right? Raise how we raise shit. I don't know these motherfuckers. We don't trust them. It's just us. It's us against the world, baby. Let's go get it. We're gonna make this work. So that was a plus, a huge plus. And the next thing it did was it broadened our horizons, I think, a lot.
Yeah.
Because we got to see different things. We got to experience different things. Like, shit, man, there's a lot of shit out here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Fun stuff that other coaches do.
You have to start mixing and intermingling in other environments other than your own. If all you've ever seen is the hood and what goes on in the hood, that's all you think that's all you're gonna realize is out there. And there's so much more. Right? We got a lot of opportunities, I think, today that we're scared to capitalize on because it's it's unknown. I don't know what's gonna happen. But what's the worst that could fucking happen?
Fail and you get back.
You know?
Up.
Am I gonna die?
My dad just
because I go experience something different? Well, if it's the wrong shit, yeah, but I mean, I'm talking
we're all talking positive stuff.
We're talking positive shit. That's a different conversation.
Yeah, some tainted crack.
My dad used to always say, like, no one plans to fail, but everyone fails to plan. And so it's one of those things where, like you said, fear. And like fear drives so much that we do. And it's all like up here, you know, everybody hated on the Will Smith movie that he did with his son where they was After Earth. Is it After Earth? After Earth. And, you know, he's given this big, long speech about fear and how fear doesn't really exist. And that's like such a jewel because fear doesn't exist. It's really a situation that you create in your head. So it's a make-believe scenario that you create and then you act it out to the point to where like it stagnates you and it stops you from doing anything. And that's really what we have to break away from is fear. Like if you want to do the chicken spot, like with your family, do the chicken spot with your family because that's what you want to do and that makes you feel good. But if your brother, sister, son, cousin, uncle, whoever don't want to do it, support that. Don't be afraid that somebody gonna pass you up. They gonna think you better. Like none of that matters. Be fulfilled within yourself. And if you're fulfilled within yourself, then you're happy for
other people's
whoever
success.
Who wants to do whatever. Like if somebody want to go out and be
say it with your chest, Devyn.
Salesman. They want to sell balloons. Like let them do that. Like that's not your place to tell them, oh, that ain't gonna work. Why? Why are you shitting on somebody else? Always come back to, I'm not fulfilled within myself. I don't want you to do better than me. So I'm going to try to down talk you so you don't do it. Like you're triggered. And so I tell people all the time, like when somebody says something negative to you, that don't have nothing to do with you. That is a reflection of how they feel about themselves. Because people who are fulfilled, they don't spew negative shit onto other people.
Nope.
They don't have it in them. Like I can't just go, anybody tell me anything. I can't go and just talk bad about them because that's not who I am. And I don't have that negative energy in me. All I could give you is what I have. And I have positivity and love. So you got to get out of here.
Yep.
We got to break those curses and you can't be afraid to break the curse.
And you can't be afraid to tell your spouse.
What did he say?
He said you can't be afraid to tell your spouse struggling.
Facts. So I mean, there's a lot to unpack in there, you know. So a lot of times we create our own prison. I guess is, you know, for lack of really putting it a better way. I mean, if we just on some real shit, I mean, we do. We create our own prison. When we don't allow ourselves to think further, to think differently, and be okay with thinking differently.
Yep.
Right? Because that's what they doing. Like, that's the, like,
right.
And that's a
It
whole
ain't
nother
gonna work.
podcast.
Just gonna fail anyway.
I want to talk about that too. We're going to talk about that at one point. Like, yeah.
But it's
'cause there's a
all
lot of
mental
that
health.
going on.
Like it's
It
all
is.
about what goes on in the mind.
We have to start taking ownership of ourselves. I think that's what it really comes down to. We have to start taking ownership and be okay. And if you're not okay where you at, let's do something different. You know what I mean? Don't project that on everybody else. If you are not happy, find out what's going to make you happy and go for that. It's the worst that can happen is you still fucking miserable. Right? I mean, if you down here, and you at the bottom, there's nowhere left for you to go down there. Try something different to bring yourself up. And if you see that person and you respect and you love them, try to help them get up. Right? So what we doing now?
Right.
We're trying to help people get up because it's too many of us down here.
Yep.
And there's too many of us that's still doing this. Like, yeah, you better figure it out, nigga. Like,
right.
So
we've been taught for so long to like be afraid of the person, like, oh, that person gonna take your penny. They done took all the money and left you with 2 pennies. Oh, be scared of him. He gonna take one of your pennies. It's just like, why am I attacking like him? If we work together, there's so much.
Pennies.
Mental health is like one of the where it's like something inside of something, inside of something, inside of something. It's just, there's so much to unpack. And it just really like, there's so many things that have to be addressed, especially when you talk about Black people and then a sub poor Black people. Like we know, like if you got a little bit of money, then you address mental health differently. And coming into money forces you to address mental health differently because now it changes the people that you surrounded with. And like people are talking about therapists and therapy and I needed a mental health day. Like when you poor working at McDonald's or Walmart, like you don't have money for that. Like that's not a luxury that you can have access to. If you own welfare, like they not paying for you to go to get your head checked. Like make more money and pay for that on your own. Like I'm just going to give you the bare minimum to survive. So it's even like subcategories and what you have access to as far as like Black people. Like if you don't have the economics, then that's not something that you can even try. And it's just something like you have to do on your own. And it's just so much. And it's just like everything has to be like dissected and slowly worked through because it's a lot of concepts that are just like super foreign to most people. It's like we're speaking in a completely different language to even sit here and talk about going to pay somebody to talk about your feelings. Like that money could be going to
a bill,
food, gas in my car so I could go to work.
Well, shit.
Mm-hmm.
When you
I don't
put
have
it
the
like
luxury
that,
of going.
shit, I don't want to go no more.
I can't pursue a new career.
Shit.
but
I'm just fucking with you, but it's all part of look, man. We can have this conversation. We can be real. It can be fun too. This conversation doesn't have to be all heavy, as I think we try to make it in our minds before we start talking about it. Like we can have fun as Black people and talk about the issues we got. Like
right.
Fuck. What do you think comedy is? The shit we like to laugh at. What are they doing? That's therapeutic for them.
But
healing and laughter.
It's just another way of communicating. And I think that for so long, we as a people don't communicate. We refuse to share knowledge. We are very passive aggressive in how we deal with each other. We put off that's just how they act or that this just me. So you're gonna have to deal with it. Well, maybe just you and how they act is not right. Maybe if you did take a chance and leave your environment, you could potentially find out or do some soul searching so that you can figure out who it is you are or who you want to become. Like those are the things where Like, I don't think we encourage that enough. Like, why you want to move out of the neighborhood? Why you want to do this? I think
Right.
our mental health is so strained by sometimes the people that we keep around us. I think sometimes you need to step out of your circle and find some positivity and build your own circle. Like I tell people all the time, I only want to engage people who are okay lifting each other up. Like, if everything that comes out of your mouth is negative, like, I now know I need to love you from afar. Like, you can't enter this world that I'm in right now. I also had to learn the hard way that not everybody is meant to take every journey with me. Some people get, left behind. They got to get off the bus two stops ago, and the next stop you getting off. Like, it's about who do you want to be around so that you stay mentally healthy. Because negativity for me, it brings me down. And I can't take on anyone else's emotions because I'm trying to deal with my own. So if you're always negative and downtrodden and woe is me, like you don't see the bright side of anything, I can't do that with you. Like, it's only so long. And Dia tell you, like, I be like, whoo, you got 2 more days. Like, and the countdown begin. But, and I don't want to be that way, but I just can't. I'm a positive soul. I need
we're going to put on our set.
You got to preserve your energy.
Yes.
Right. You got to preserve your energy. And people need to realize that energy is very powerful
and real.
And if you're not vibing with someone, their energy is negative. I am a quick person to be like, I'm done. Like, I'm good. I can holler at you from a distance. Like, you better than me. You giving 2 days. I'm like, nope, I ain't feeling it. Like, I ain't coming around them. None of those things. I've worked hard to have my positive energy. I've worked hard for that. And so when our group or our circle of people, they're all positive. We're always encouraging each other, being like, someone can come with an idea and we're like, go ahead and do it. Why not? Like, it's nothing. That's the only way that you get better and grow, is having that positive, supportive group around you, because then you can really, you can be yourself. You can know how to improve yourself. And then you know where to go to be able to talk about things, because that's a hard thing. There's certain things that I may not want to talk to my wife about, but I know I got some friends that I can talk to and being like, what I'm dealing with. Like, am I tripping?
It's okay.
And,
like, nah, nigga,
and it's vice versa. And I think because I think sometimes you just need somebody, a good friend to be like, no, I think how you viewing that. And I think, like, you need to view it this way. All right, cool. Because I can take your suggestion because I know what place you're coming from. I know your energy. But if you're a negative person, I ain't coming to you to talk about stuff that's going on. Because last thing I want to hear you is shit on everything that I'm doing. And I'm all like, well, fuck you. Like, I ain't got time to get shitted on.
And you also have to realize that everybody not meant to be in your circle. Just because y'all grew up together.
Just because you
or because that's your family. Like, so if they don't speak into you, you don't leave their presence feeling empowered or feeling positive, recharged, they are not the one. If you leave, there are some people that we give to, and then there's some people that we take from, and then there's some people where it's like a mutual charge. And so our group of friends, like, it's really like a mutual charge. Like, every time we're together, it's just like, it's that Nicki Minaj song. It's a celebration every time we link up. Mm-hmm. And like, we just feel charged and positive and optimistic and like, yes. And we offer that back to them. Hopefully they'll be able to say that. We do. We offer that back to them. But there are some people who, like, we don't share those parts of our life with. Like, we don't share our visions and our goals, and we don't share our deepest thoughts, and we just don't do that. Like, it's love, though. We love those people. Mm-hmm. We engage in relationship with those people. And that there are tiers and there are levels, and everybody is not meant to be in your personal. Everybody's not meant to be there. Right. Everybody's not meant to know you're in. Everybody's not meant to be that charger for you. And know that, recognize that, and be able to step away. Like if you always feel drained when you're with that person, you're not supposed to share close, intimacy with that person. And by intimacy, I mean like I'm telling you my goals, I'm telling you my dreams, my thoughts, I'm telling you things that I'm building on. I go to you if I need advice and help. Like that's intimacy.
Nigga, that ain't gonna work.
That's intimacy.
Nigga, what you know about a hot dog?
And then
like,
for women, like
women
naturally kind of like do that for one another already. And men struggle because that's intimacy and that's vulnerability. And y'all have been conditioned to believe that that's gay. That's something that But that's a mental illness. I was just telling somebody the other day, it's only gay if you gay. If you ain't gay, it ain't gay. It's either you gay or it's not gay. Like ain't no in between. It's gay or it's not. It's not. It's love. Like if you got a friend and you're like, hey man, I love you. I hope you're doing great. That's not gay.
No, that's not gay.
It's just really it's natural and normal, to have positive relationships. And that's why Black men like sometimes see each other as spiders, because y'all have been conditioned to believe that any kind of intimacy and love and compassion between two men is gay. Like you don't have nothing to do with sex. Like that's my friend. Y'all enjoy each other's company. Y'all can talk about stuff. Y'all can build together. Y'all can encourage one another. That's friendship. That's normal.
No, just kidding.
You stupid. Now, they didn't expect that shit from me. But I will say this. There are some things that women do that are acceptable, for sure, that men would probably never do. Heterosexual men. I mean, and that's just...
Well, men in general. But
some niggas
baby steps.
Yeah. But...
Can we have an example?
You want an example? I'll give you an example. Women can walk up to each other. Friends can walk. These motherfuckers. Look at them. Look at
Definitely like.
Go ahead and say. Fuck it, I'm gonna say.
No, go ahead. Say it. I know where you were going.
God damn it. I'm gonna say it.
Your thoughts matter.
Women can walk up to each other, hug each other, and kiss each other. Give each other a kiss and be like, "Hey, it's so good to see you. I missed you."
I don't do that.
We can't do that.
Well, I don't like touching like that.
Now,
hey,
now, Devyn. Like, damn, girl, look at you. Pat her on the ass and shit.
Okay, true story.
No, we can't do that. So let's just keep it in perspective.
But you can't be like, you know what? You look like you've been in the gym. All right, what's your workout? I need to get on that workout plan. Spin it.
Well, yeah, when you put the last part on, yeah, but you can't leave that shit just half, like in the beginning.
You in the gym, like, Stanley? Okay.
What's Eddie Murphy joint he did to Mr. T? Hey, boy, you looking mighty good in them jeans. Nigga, what?
I didn't say that.
Daryl, you don't want to slap ass.
Curls, D. I see you doing them curls. I'm not doing curls at all.
Good game. Slap
I'm just saying.
I don't even work out, man.
Do what's comfortable for you.
I ain't never seen the gym, nigga. What is you talking about?
But do gay men even, behave that way?
I don't know.
I
doubt it.
I
doubt it. I don't know. I don't know. We digressing like a motherfucker.
It's just a different culture. Men and women, it's just a different culture, and it's okay.
It is, man.
But the focus is positive relationships.
But sometimes you look at some shit and be like, yo, that's some gay shit. Don't act like y'all don't do it.
You got something right there.
Stop.
You see, we ain't. Nah. Hold on, let me get that.
You got something in your eye. Oh, that's funny.
Fuck out of here.
I'm gonna just let you know, if a guy walk up to D and be like, let me get that for you and fix his collar. I'll be like, I'm like, that look real okay, baby. I would be like,
And see, soon as she do that, now see, that's why men react the way they do, right? Because she gonna be like, nigga, what you gonna do about that, right? So no, I got to do something.
Now,
right? No, I got to do something.
Fight him.
He just fixed your collar.
Yeah. And God forbid this nigga strong. Like, you know. Now
So
I'm
what you're
worried about
saying is
getting my
that
ass
black
whooped by the
women-
dude they just wanted to fix my collar.
Let me go and help you out with that.
That's
So what you're
personal.
saying is
That's
as
that
black
personal
women, we
space.
help perpetuate those negative stereotypes, which stop
facts.
you all from having positive interactions with your friends.
Facts. Sometimes y'all do.
So we gotta get it together too.
Sometimes y'all do.
All right, black women,
We got to stop.
The black people
making your
in general.
man feel bad for just trying to have
we
friends.
have to start.
We have to
uplifting
do
each other,
better.
no matter
Just
what.
not today.
Everybody does.
Tomorrow.
We're gonna do better tomorrow.
Maybe
Tomorrow.
But tonight, don't come in here with that gay shit.
Come here, look, I don't even wear shirts with collars.
Don't look at my jeans at all.
That is so funny enough, I used to, in our earlier years, always encourage him. I'd be like, man, you need some friends. Like, go get some friends.
Oh
Can
my
you go get
God.
some? Like, you need, what about, and
Like
I
she
would
about to
start
have a
throwing
heart
names
attack
out.
and
What
shit.
about so-and-so? Like, don't y'all had that
Oh
one
my
conversation?
God.
Like, y'all was cool. Like, you don't like him. Okay, well, what about Ed? No.
Nah, fuck Ed too.
Like, I'm just throwing out names. Like, I don't even know who you talk about at this point. Just a friend. Can you find one?
I literally that person, like, if I'm not feeling you, like, I'm just not gonna talk to you.
And
You
it
got
don't
like
take
5?
long. It don't take long to figure it out.
I literally only have 5 friends, and I am good with those 5. Like, I don't need to add nobody. I'm good. Like,
I could be friends with anybody. We
That hurt.
like, hey girl, how you doing? You good? That is great. Let's talk.
I ain't calling that nigga.
I
that's the first thing we talked about. I was
Looking like,
man.
yo,
I said, we don't
look
talk
at
to
this
you
number.
for
Be
4
like,
days.
same
What's
way.
these numbers? I was
why
like,
is
that
this
sounds
nigga
about right.
calling me? But as men, we typically don't do that. You know
Nope.
what I mean? Unless
y'all
we
should start.
already have that kind of close,
So,
intimate relationship.
I'm gonna tell you though, because I know D, and there have been times where I'm like, you ain't gonna like her husband. So I'm just telling you right now, don't get mad at me. I accepted the invite, but just deal with it. But then there are times where I'm like, you will like him. Like, just come. And then he gets there, and it's like they long lost friends. Like, they've been friends for the past 30 years, and now they
Like,
can't
I
live without
told
each
you.
other. Yes. so I'm like,
You seen that
it
shit
can't
like once.
happen. No.
Like that shit be happening all the time now.
No, not all the time, but
Hell no.
it happens enough.
I don't even like people like that, so I know you lying.
No. Angry
it's a
Daryl
couple
didn't
times,
like
shit.
people.
Oh yeah,
No,
yeah,
Angry
for
Daryl
sure.
and Angry Daryl.
I'm trying to
still
change
don't-
my ways,
you
y'all.
still don't
I'm
like
working
people.
on it. I'm trying to change my
That's
ways.
good.
But-
Baby steps. Baby
Get
steps.
better.
New
You said angry
Daryl.
Daryl didn't
New
like
D
people.
like people.
I don't think she liked the new D though. Let's talk about that a little bit. So
You don't like the new D?
I don't
I
think she
do.
do. She don't like
I
Happy D.
do.
She don't like Happy D.
You don't like the new
I don't think
D?
she do. I
No,
don't think she do.
it's not that I don't like
saying that.
Happy.
The new Daryl. Let's
She
use your
don't-
whole
she don't
name
like
for
the new
this
D.
one.
Like,
Why don't you
nah.
like the new D?
I
He
do
too fucking
like the
happy.
new D.
He too fucking happy.
Y'all
Like,
not catching what he's saying. Just,
I
let's just
got one. He said I don't like the new D. I like the D. Period. Listen.
oh, you nigga! I'm slow as
He's like, I don't know if
fuck.
she like the new D. I was like, you don't like the
I'm
new
slow
D?
as
You don't like the new D?
fuck.
No. Listen.
I officially
I'm over
am not
here.
fucking with you, nigga. That
I'm
was
like
officially. You will never get a call from me, nigga, ever. The new D need help.
That was funny.
He said
Oh.
he
That's
said
a conversation
sound like
too.
you need the blue
Character.
pill.
That got me,
So what is it about the new?
that got me hot.
What is it about the
I'm
new
hot as a
Daryl
motherfucker
that
now.
you think she don't like?
She
What
don't-
don't she like
I
about the
don't-
new
I don't-
Daryl?
I think I get on her nerves now.
Oh.
Cause like OD was just quiet and shit. I ain't say shit. Like, you know, like fuck it. I'm
now
just
you
here.
more
Like,
interactive.
yeah, you know, I'll be trying. You know, she'd be like, "Fuck you want, nigga? Get away from me!" Like, ugh. Yeah,
Listen.
she don't like the new D or the new Daryl.
The new
this motherfucker.
listen.
Now everybody thinking like, "Damn D." No,
No.
let's not do that. Let's not do that, niggas.
You want me to get it for you?
Clear that up right now.
No. Listen.
So fuck you,
That's gonna
Devyn.
be
I'm gonna put it out there right now on the waves.
That's gonna be all
Fuck you,
Edit that
nigga.
out.
No.
But we're gonna have that conversation one day for sure on the pod. I
On
want
the
to pod
blue pill?
about
Yes.
yeah.
We wanna talk about it.
that conversation coming.
It's not that I don't
Okay.
like the new Daryl. It's not that I don't like him. What it is he has energy that I'm not used to. So he has gone from being more reserved to more outgoing. There are times, there would be a time where he would not follow me into the bathroom. Like, he'd be like, oh, she going to the bathroom. I was the one who would be like, hey, you want to talk? You in there. I'm right here. Let's talk. And he'd be like, can I have privacy? So now the roles have changed where I'll be in the bathroom like, and here comes.
I hate when you fucking tell stories,
here
man.
he
Like,
come.
come on, man.
And he'll be singing a song, and I'd be like, "Oh, this is so inappropriate. Like, can you get out? Why I gotta get out? I want to talk to you. I ain't seen you all day." I'd be like,
That's just because I'm an old nasty man now. I'm old
You need to
nasty.
get out the bathroom.
Like, can a nigga be old nasty?
You can be old and nasty,
Goddamn.
but no. So then,
I'm just trying to get my freaking D going. Goddamn, let me pee.
yeah, because my pants is down
I ain't seen
already.
you all day. How you
Inappropriate.
doing?
Like, old Daryl would be like, at least wash your hands. New person be like, well, your pants are already down. Let's just do it now. No, that's like, can I wash my hands? So
Just stop. You're so exaggerative, man. That's why I hate when you fucking tell stories.
there's moments where I just want him to take a step back and breathe.
Don't nobody care about clean hands at that point in
Situation.
time right now.
It's an adjustment. is what
Hands.
you're
I didn't even
saying.
know you
Yes.
had hands.
Yeah.
I wasn't looking at your hands at all.
I wasn't looking that high at all.
It's just an adjustment period that I have to, like, he is comfortable. He's excited and happy. And I, again, need to own the emotions that come along with that. So I don't discourage him. I don't push him away. I have to adjust. No, I don't. I have to adjust to how his feelings and how he's evolving. That's all it is. And sometimes my adjustment period may not happen as fast as he would like me to, but I always go back to that and go, hey, you were trying to do something, with me 5 minutes ago, and I didn't know how to receive that. So I'm ready now. Like, and then I will actually initiate whatever, he was trying to do, whether it was singing, if we were dancing, or I can get you ready. That ain't the problem. The problem is, like, I just, I have to adjust how I move so that he doesn't take it the wrong way. So I do like the new Daryl. I like it all.
I can totally understand
where you're real good
because I'm not the touchy-feely person, and my husband is extremely touchy-feely all the time. And sometimes it'd be like sensory overload for me because I'm like, I just really, in general, don't like being touched by nobody, ever.
Are you a Capricorn?
All the time. I am not. I'm a Taurus.
Okay.
So I have had to get to the point where I just totally go against every feeling in my body and like just let him do it. Let him dance with me. Let him touch me. And I just don't say nothing. And he'll know when I'm uncomfortable because when I'm uncomfortable, I smile all the time, whether I'm comfortable or not. But it's two different smiles. Like my uncomfortable is like,
yes.
I deal with the same thing.
And so, but I've learned to get out of my head and like live in the moment sometimes, be instantaneous. And it gets easier like it is still hard, but it definitely gets easier. And I find myself having more moments where I'm like, ooh, like playful, touchy, and shut up.
So get
and
her
all
to do
that.
it.
Or those moments, I'd be like,
Because I've allowed myself to like be uncomfortable in the moment. And like, I really sometimes keep track in my head, like, okay, I told him no 2 times ago. So I have to like let it happen this time. And I see it when it's coming. I'll be like, oh man, he is really happy. Okay, he's kissing me. Okay, here it comes. Let it happen.
How fucked up is that?
No, because I had the same
I know you
conversation in
do.
my head.
That's what I'm saying. It's fucked up.
So, no, because...
We crazy and we working on
you're
it.
not crazy.
Listen.
I could
A little bit.
Okay.
I don't call nobody
little bit.
crazy.
But no, I do the same thing. Like, I know when it's coming. And I'd be like, okay, it's okay. Like, even early on, like, old Daryl used to be like, girl, come here. It's okay for me to hug you. And I'd be like, no, it's not. Like, I don't want another hug right now.
Come here, bitch. I want a hug.
And he had to literally tell me, even with our kids, you know, they just want to hug you. It's okay for them to want to hug their mom.
What's your angle?
And I'd be like,
You got them in the head like a shit.
No.
Like, what you doing?
No, because I would be like, see, a hug to me is 5 seconds or less. And I realized that I actually used to count like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, let go.
You want to do the 1 1,000?
No.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Because listen, if you've ever seen me and my brother hug each other, it is the most awkward like embrace ever. Anybody in my family is very awkward. No, like, it looks like it's forced, and it looks like I don't know. I don't know.
Like y'all niggas just look goofy at that point. Just stop.
And it's like, why do you even want to go in for a hug if it's so uncomfortable? So I realized that I needed 1 to stop counting, but 2 to kind of embrace it. So even when he is touchy-feely, and I know that about him, like I don't over process it. I just go, he gonna do it anyway, and I'm gonna love it, and I'm gonna accept it. And he'll even say, but you love it, and I go, yes, I do, because it's not that I don't. It just takes me a moment to be comfortable being uncomfortable in that moment. Like, this is out of...
Because we'd be smooth upset if they just stopped hugging.
Yes.
Like, so you sucking somebody else?
Exactly.
You ain't hugged me in 7 days. Well, you don't like it. But first of all, don't tell me what I like.
Right.
Yeah. And then, you know what?
Whether I want it or not.
You just told me to leave you alone.
But I didn't mean it.
I'd be like, it's so confusing.
And that's that's a trigger for us. Like, we have to go back and analyze in our life, and why are we... I know why I don't like being touched, because I had a history of physical abuse in my family. That's why I don't like being touched. I don't like touching without my permission. So a spontaneous hug is just as violent as somebody doing something violent to me. But I have to like now process, okay, touching of any kind is a trigger for me, and it shouldn't. That's not natural. That's not.
But now
normal.
I feel bad.
So
and shit.
I need to go back.
No.
Don't feel bad.
I never thought about it like that.
That's work.
I didn't explain it to you that
way. But that's my work, and that's her work. She has to do that work, and like, as loving your... you have to change and adapt, and you have to address your trauma, and you have to address your baggage, and you have to cut it, and you can't continue to hold on to it because that's what's comfortable, because comfortable equals death.
Right.
Anytime you're comfortable on something, like, that leads to death. And so I know not being touched is comfortable to me. Babies that are newborns die if they're not touched. As humans, physical touch is a part of our existence. Just, when babies cry, or when you're feeling bad or something traumatic happens and somebody just embraces you and hugs you, that's literally calming to your central nervous system, which is like your major process in your body. That deep, rub, like when somebody's crying, you give them that deep rub down the center of their back, and it just makes you feel good because it's calming to your nervous system. So hugging is important. Kissing releases endorphins.
What about rubbing on the booty?
Sex releases endorphins in the brain. All those things are important. So like we have to like address that trauma. We got to get over it.
I know it was niggas out there thinking it.
Don't make me say
I just
your
figured
name.
I said it.
Don't make me say the name.
See, you be tripping.
What did you say? I missed it.
I said, what about rubbing on the booty? Like,
what does that
help too, right?
Wherever you want to rub, rub away. Rub away.
I won't die. Please. I've rubbed.
Yeah.
And I've actually grown accustomed to it. So now, 15 years in, I expect it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think she do too, because she still ignore me. And I guess over time, over years, it'd be like, I don't give a fuck. I want to do it. I'm going to do it. Shit, you don't like it? That's on your ass. That's on you.
You'll get over it.
Yeah. You gonna like this.
And I know sometimes you'll get over it.
And I know sometimes I do it just to irritate her too, because I know when she like really don't want to be touched, I just keep doing that shit. But it give us some excitement for the day, because then like for 2 minutes we get a little fake fight, and then it give me something to look forward to tonight. Like I ain't
like we gonna
that aggressive.
Like,
you gonna give me that aggressive love because you was baby, mad earlier.
Let me make it up to you now.
Let me say I'm sorry.
He getting you riled up on purpose.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I like that.
But I'm happy that you sort of explain like the reason why like physical touch might be difficult based on the trauma that we've had in the past. Yeah, because I don't think he's ever processed it that way.
No, I haven't.
Mm-hmm. So
that's my bad.
No,
I'ma still feel on your booty though.
I'm just
but it's good for you too, because you can help her like come out of that trauma, just like she can help you come out of your traumas. So it's like a mutual, positive relationship. Y'all are helping each other come out of your traumas and grow into better people.
See, baby, you rub me and I'll rub your back. That's what they say in the therapist.
I heard something completely different.
That's straight from the
your interpretation is completely different.
That's what I heard too.
And that's what I figured. Okay. Well, we'll talk about that after the show.
That's a whole nother show, sir.
We'll get our language
we'll
together.
Discuss some things that were talked about.
It's like 8 whole nother shows. We didn't do it.
It kind of is. We're just kicking it. We're just kicking it now.
It's a different show.
We go on tangents, but that's all right.
And we love it. Like, have us for as many shows as you need.
That's kind of why we did this, though.
Yes.
That's the whole premise of this platform, is that we just wanted to meet some really good people and kick it and talk about things that our community needs to talk about that we normally don't.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and meet some cool fucking people doing it. And it was a big tool for me and a chance for me to get to branch out, open myself up a little bit, let somebody know me other than the 4 walls in this house, try to experience something new to get to another level of growth in my life. So I enjoy this shit. I can do this shit all day, to be honest with you, though. So we love it. We love it.
We do.
We appreciate you guys.
Any last words for us? Like anything else on the mental wellness journey that you want to add?
Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead. I got you.
I think it's important for everybody to know you're normal in your irregularities, in your non-normalcy. Like, you're normal. Like, we all go through the same struggles. Like D is saying, like, sometimes it's hard to share but when Devyn's talking, like, he sees himself in Devyn's story. Like, we all see each other in each other's stories, although the details might be different. The overall theme, the lessons that we have to learn are all the same. We all are going through the same stuff. It might manifest differently, but we're going through the same stuff. And so if you're struggling with anything, like there are so many more people that are going through the same exact thing you're going through, although the situation might be different, but everything else is the same. So to feel the lie that we tell ourselves is that, oh, nobody will understand. You're an anomaly. Like it's just you. Like those are lies. And they're so far from the truth because the four of us, we didn't even know each other. Like we came together through a random Facebook post or message, and like we can't even find a message. Like the message is where, and it's like we have so many similarities. We have so many I guess similarities again in our walks, in our upbringing, in our thinking, in our experiences, and we're all like that. And so we got to walk away knowing that like we are common, we're the same, and that we were all placed here to help one another and to be in relationship with one another in order for us to become the best version of us that we can be.
I would say,
thank you.
I know.
Thank you.
You should have went. How am I supposed to
For
follow
sure.
that?
Like how the fuck we gonna follow that?
Well,
let them know why I married you. Do it.
Well, there you go. That's all you got to say. Whoa.
You gonna just
bring it, baby.
Just need that encouragement right there. I would want to leave with what she said. You know, I agree that we all may come from different walks, but there's people out there that has the same story with you that actually has been through it, that can help guide you through your situations that you're in. Educate yourself. And you can do that by reading, but also you can do that by, sometimes people don't realize, sometimes meditating is very good to do, to really invest and in almost interrogate yourself of what's going on. Why does that trigger me? Why do I feel this way? And sitting there and just breathe through the situations and finding out, you know, what's wrong and what could be wrong, so that you can figure out ways to be able to explain to people what's going on. So I think sometimes that's people are scared to explain because they don't know how to explain. And I think the more that you educate yourself, the more that you invest in yourself, you're able to verbalize what's going on, because now the emotions aren't driving the train. Now the logical and the critical thinking's driving the train, and you're able to verbalize what's going on, what you're feeling, and be able to seek help. If you don't want to seek help from family members, seek help from a good friend. If you don't want to seek help from a good friend, seek help through a therapist. Like God has created people on this earth to be able to help. And it's out there. There's resources for people who do it for free. And I know that, you know, we talk about economics and things like that. There's people that do these things for free, but you have to be willing to be tired to really invest and go get the help. There's help out there. I always tell kids of this generation, there's no reason why you shouldn't know how to do things. If you got the internet's right there on your hands. Like YouTube can tell you how to do the square root and this, this, and all that. Like you have that. You don't have a thesaurus. Like you don't know what a thesaurus is and getting a dictionary and look it up. Like
Encyclopedia Britannica.
You don't know that.
Right.
Like you don't have to go to the that. Yeah. But there's resources out there, and there's resources in your community. You just have to educate yourself with those things. And the more that you educate yourself with things, the better you're equipped to handle situations that come your way. Because situations going to always come. Whether you're seeing a therapist, whether you're getting to know yourself, life happens, right? Shit happens. But being equipped to handle that shit makes life that much easier. Because if you went on a football field and you didn't have a helmet, it'll be pretty hard to play that damn game without a helmet. But if you're equipped right, it makes that game that much more easier to play. And enjoyable.
You get to enjoy our life.
Mm-hmm.
Sitting with self. Don't be afraid of that either. Sometimes we're afraid to sit with ourselves and sit in those shitty emotions. We don't want to sit there. So we want to self-medicate with drugs and alcohol and friends and partying and sex and girls and boys and all that reckless stuff. Sit with yourself. Get to know yourself. And that'll definitely help too.
I'd rather get to know you, girl.
I'll say with yourself.
Y'all both
Not
on.
with somebody else.
He over there looking at her.
One.
You whispering in the mic.
How you doing?
Go ahead, Ma.
No, thank you, because
Are you got your close? You want
yeah,
closing thoughts?
yeah, because I think again, so many of us think we're alone through these struggles, and we're not. And I think the more that we start to talk and have honest conversation with each other, we'll find out and figure out that we're so much more alike. And there are, like you said, there's resources and people out there, but that positivity, like surrounding yourself with individuals who want to upbuild and uplift and empower you to be better, to be that best version of yourself is important. So if part of the struggle is you not having someone to talk to, maybe you need to reevaluate who is in your circle. Like, who are those close people around you? Because maybe those are the people that are not best suited to assist you in this journey or this part of your life. So I think that's huge. And once you get over that hurdle, to me, your mental wellness and health becomes so much easier for you to manage, because you're surrounded by people who want you to be better. So, but thank you for that. Like,
and we want everybody to be better. So if anybody needs help, then hit us up. Find us on Facebook.
And a good thing now, you can get counseling through Zoom. And so there's a lot of those things out there that you don't have to go you don't have to go nowhere, especially with the pandemic and everything else. You can do counseling through Zoom. So like, that's a good thing that people don't realize that they can do now.
What I like too is that many people don't know that a lot of employers offer mental wellness and health checkups for free. So if you haven't looked into your HR packet, you might want to, because a lot of times it's in there and all you have to do is ask. And lo and behold, next thing you know, you found someone that you can talk to.
Yep.
Anything you want to add, D?
Well, shit, I can't be the only nigga ain't say nothing. Yeah, I'm gonna add something.
Yeah, you gotta say something.
Gotta say something now. Y'all trying to get all deep and shit. Yeah.
Hit us with the mic checker. Is that what you're gonna do?
No, I'm not going to hit you with the mic checker. What I have to say is we all need to learn to be more compassionate and more empathetic in regards to each other. Because, we were talking about the economic piece of this, where some folks just don't have the resources for standard therapy. You know what I mean? Maybe their job doesn't have benefits, so they don't have an employee assistance program. They don't have the money to pay out of pocket. But if we as a people are more compassionate and empathetic to what each other is going through, because we're all going through the same shit, maybe at different times, but we've all gone through a lot of the same shit as Black people in this country. So if we allow ourselves to be more approachable and we empathize with our brothers and sisters more and we show them some compassion, we can help them without even knowing. Be kind to one another, That's just a simple act of kindness, you have no idea what that can do for somebody. Somebody might be going to do something crazy to hurt themselves. And you happen to pass by and you had a kind word or you helped them do something and change their mind. If you've got a friend and they come to you, listen to them, because they're reaching out for a reason. They need help. They just don't want to throw up in your lap all the time. Sometimes people just need somebody to talk to. We're not necessarily all the time looking for you to solve it. We don't need you to give us the answers. We don't need you to tell us what we need to do. Sometimes we just want to say, man, goddamn, I got to talk to somebody about this. Just listen to me for a minute. and that be the end of it. But that little 10, 15, 20 minutes, half hour, you know, that you allowed yourself to be there for that friend or that person who needed to talk, you know, is priceless in a lot of situations. So that's what I want us to be able to be more comfortable doing that. Just be empathetic and kind and compassionate for one another and realize we're all in this shit together. And the only way we make it out is together. So let's start working together on this and try to lift some of the stigmas, because you know, we bring a lot of that shit on ourselves because we box ourselves in our own little community, and we don't want to experience no other shit. Like, nah, they do that shit. Nah, we don't do that. And that shit might be fun, nigga. Shit, let's try it. I don't know. So no, that's all I got. I mean, we got a whole lot more, but
I think we always walk away from these conversations with little hidden gems.
Yeah.
And when this podcast comes out, we'll watch it and listen to it and pick up on 5 more things that are like aha moments. So we hope our listeners get that out of these conversations as well. So,
like, goddamn, they holding that smile for a long time.
Let's cut it.
Did we freeze?
Yeah.
Yes.
I never freeze.
And we were like, what is going on?
I'm like, she holding that smile like a motherfucker. So was he. The same look, just like that.
So let's end it out. Remember to like, subscribe, and join the conversation. Leave a comment. We'd love to hear from you. I'm your girl, AA.
Yo, I'm your man, D. Lewis.
And this has been the Urban Green Room Podcast. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. Have a good evening. Until the next time, we out.
Peace.
Thank you for tuning into the Urban Green Room Podcast. Let's keep the conversation going. Hit us up at urbangreenroom.net or on our Facebook or IG page.
I always follow them.
Tell us what you think about today's conversation. If there's a topic you want to discuss, let us know. And by all means, tell a friend. The Urban Green Room Podcast, giving you something to talk about. Until next time, we out.